Texas Governor Greg Abbott has implemented a ban on mask mandates, and certain school districts are scrambling for solutions to keep children safe. What's interesting, though, is that the Paris Independent School District has decided that they're gonna use a loophole, and that loophole is just make masks part of the school uniform. Let me give you the details. The Board of Trustees is concerned about the health and safety of its students and employees. The board believes the dress code can be used to mitigate communicable health issues, and therefore has amended the PISD dress code to protect our students and employees. So this is a press release from the Paris Independent School District, and honestly, it's quite sad that any school district in this country would need to find a loophole to get around the poor leadership of a governor like Greg Abbott, who has just, by the way, tested positive for COVID. He could have prevented that by wearing a mask, of course. The statement continues to say that the Texas governor does not have the authority to usurp the Board of Trustees' exclusive power and duty to govern and oversee the management of the public schools of the district. Nothing in the governor's executive order 38 states that he has suspended Chapter 11 of the Texas Education Code, and therefore the board has elected to amend its dress code consistent with its statutory authority. So again, it's sad that they have to go in this direction. Remember, the Dallas School District decided to just completely ignore Governor Abbott's mask mandate ban. So school districts are trying to figure out how to approach this whole situation. The governor should not be an obstacle to keeping children safe.
Yeah.
I mean, these are people, Governor Abbott, who claim to be so concerned about the lives of zygotes and fetuses. But when it comes to living, breathing children and doing the bare minimum to prevent them from getting sick, Abbott bans those measures. That's the kind of person he is.
Yeah, he's not just not doing the bare minimum, he's stopping you from doing the bare minimum.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I guess we'll have to see, if the courts get involved. I know there's been a lot of different ways that localities and schools in different states have been trying to get around these bans on mandates. Some seem to have been successful, some not. I don't know about Dallas. I don't know if that's been fully adjudicated yet. If they get away with it, then you don't need to do the dress code stuff. If a place with as many schools and as many students as Dallas can do it, but I think it's clever. It's nice to finally have a national news story about a dress code that's not one of the worst things you've ever heard, because they tend to be. Like what they choose to regulate and all of that. But sure, I mean, for decades and decades, they've been putting kids in stuff that some consider uncomfortable and they've gotten away with it. Why not a mask?
Yeah,
they can even sell ones with school colors and everything.
I am not a proponent of dress codes in schools.
I never had to abide by one, thankfully.
Yeah,
not a uniform.
Anyway. I mean, I'm a woman, back then a girl, and the dress codes seem to be pretty strict toward female students, I've noticed, right? Like, oh, are you bearing an ankle? How dare you? Like that kind of stuff, which is why I usually have a negative knee-jerk reaction to dress codes. But this is a clever way of getting around the awful, awful leadership of Governor Abbott. And I commend them for it because, again, the safety of these children should be of utmost importance. It should be the priority. And while COVID, even the Delta variant, is still less likely to have the same impact on children that it has on adults, we are starting to see some pretty worrying numbers in regard to children getting sick from COVID and suffering some severe, health issues as a result. So I want to get to that graphic. So from the start of the pandemic through August 9th, over 5,800 children in Texas have been hospitalized with COVID-19, and that's according to the CDC. There were 783 children admitted to Texas hospitals with COVID-19 between July 1st and August 9th. More than 45 children were hospitalized with COVID-19 on Wednesday alone. Around 90% of the hospital's COVID-19 positive patients, all children and adolescents, contracted the Delta variant. So the Delta variant is even more contagious than the variant that we were dealing with at the beginning of the pandemic.
Original recipe.
Yes, exactly. And so that is why there's cause for concern here. We want to keep children safe. Look, and more importantly, we want to keep kids safe. We want to get people vaccinated. We want people to wear masks because we eventually want to be done with this. I feel awful for all the kids who keep getting sent back to in-person learning and then within a few days taken out of in-person learning because there's an outbreak of coronavirus within the school.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine these kids are being robbed of their childhoods right now. And these are important developmental years for them, not just in education, but also socializing with others.
Yeah. Yeah, and some obviously are being robbed of their entire lives. Others, I mean, thousands in the hospital. Like, I don't know, have you ever been in the hospital? Like, it's rough. And as a kid, and we know in particular, this disease is known to cause long-term consequences. We might be spending the rest of our life finding out about the millions of Americans who are gonna be experiencing long COVID symptoms. That's a crisis for another day, I suppose, but it's not necessary. The kids are already in control of so little. If these kids are unlucky enough to be in a family that won't get vaccinated, won't wear masks, they're already at risk pretty much every day. Maybe we could create a little bit of a sanctuary where for at least a little bit they're not exposed to even more of it, and yet we choose not to. And so as you point out, we have the outbreaks. I believe in both Missouri and Florida right now, there are mass quarantines going on for students that have been exposed to it.
Yep.
All of this is unnecessary.
Yeah.
There should be mandates for vaccination for the people that can get it, the support staff and the teachers, and the kids should definitely be wearing masks.
The American Academy of Pediatrics and the Children's Hospital Association reported that nearly 94,000 children contracted COVID last week. 94,000.
Jesus.
Look, I don't know how many anti-vaxxers watch the show. And if they do, I don't know how many of them hate me or distrust me. But just hear me out on this one thing, okay? Especially if you have kids. If someone is hospitalized with coronavirus, they're in a hospital room alone, and their loved ones can't be by their side, and that includes children. I don't want anyone to go through that. Like, it breaks my heart even thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking for the child. Think about how scary that is. And think about what the parents go through, knowing that they can't be by their children's or child's side as he or she is suffering in the hospital with a virus that they could have protected them from.
Yeah, and that the kids have been terrified about for more than a year, and now they get it.
No one deserves to go through that kind of torture. Please, please, please mask up, get vaccinated. These kids can't get vaccinated yet. So I just think we have a responsibility to children, to everyone else, to our communities, to just do the right thing, be responsible. Please, let's get through this. Let's finally be a little more responsible in the way that we approach things like masks and vaccines.
Yeah. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.